Welcome back to Sledgehammer Horror, guys. I am Ken Sledge.
And I'm Ashley Sledge.
And let's talk horror.
On the third week of Sledgemas, my sledges reviewed for me Silent Night, Deadly Night, A Santa Killing Spree.
So this movie was extremely controversial in 1984 when it came out. Controversial to the point to where it was pulled from theaters a week after its release for featuring a killer Santa. Now, if you're making a horror movie and you're getting pulled from the theaters, you know you're doing something right.
Yeah, so, Santa don't kill people.
Right. Next year is going to be the 40th anniversary of this film. So we thought what better film to review for the third week of Sledgemas than Silent Night, Deadly Night. So first we're going to talk about the positives, then we'll talk about some of the negatives, then we'll get into spoilers, as well as our final thoughts and overall review of the film. So let's get it started right now with our positives.
Some of the positives, Grandpa's acting, okay, it's very scary, like he's a scary guy, but yet it's so emotional, and I really like his acting. It really makes the whole thing feel real and like scary.
Very, very frightening for the little amount of time that he has in the film.
Yeah.
Very, very intimidating.
Yeah, especially for, him talking to such a young boy, and it's like he doesn't talk to him until the parents are gone.
Right.
Like that's
he acts
creepy.
completely catatonic, and then once the parents are gone, he's like, "You're waiting for Santa boy." It's just like, whoa, slow down there, Grandpa.
Right.
And then the mom, you know,
she actually believed her son, which you don't get a lot of that in horror movies. They're always just like, no, that's not real or whatever. But she's actually like, okay.
Yeah, because he's freaking out. He's like, I don't want to see Santa. Santa's going to hurt me. And they're like, where'd you hear that? And he's like, Grandpa. And the dad's like, really?
Do you really think he heard it from Grandpa? And she's like, I mean, why would he lie? And most of the time, parents don't take their kids' sides in horror movies, it seems like. They kind of like push their feelings aside.
Right. And the young boy that plays young Billy does a great job in this movie. And the points where he's supposed to be scared, he genuinely looks scared.
He big eyes, looks very scared. He did a good job.
When he's talking to Grandpa, he genuinely looks scared. He has this feeling of unease to him. I think he did a really good job for being such a young kid actor that's put in such a crucial role at the beginning of the film.
Yeah, and so they really know how to manifest the trauma in this. He's having these nightmares about Santa, and just all the stuff that has happened to him as a child. The trauma is there for sure.
And you're led to believe that he doesn't remember it.
Yeah.
The nuns are saying, oh, he doesn't remember what happened to him as a child. He doesn't remember what happened to him as a child.
I don't know how you would forget something like that.
Right. And it's obviously still in there. Even if it's way down deep, it's in there. And he's seeing it when he sleeps. And it's very traumatic for him. One positive, really, really big positive about this movie is the score and the soundtrack. A lot of the songs are very, very Christmas. They feel like genuine, real Christmas songs. And the score, when it's supposed to be happy and upbeat, it works. When it's supposed to be down and low and scary, it works. Big fan of what they did with the soundtrack and the score throughout this film. We always talk about the score or we talk about the soundtrack. This one had the perfect, in my opinion, mesh of both. The score was really well done. Original songs that were written but still sound very Christmassy. And the score it worked really, really well for me.
Yeah, we really like this part too. Are you in here?
Just making it look like the Nutcracker.
Yes, just how they're like they're shocked. These nutcrackers are shocked. Like they can't believe what Santa's doing.
They're screaming right along with the nun.
Yes.
So yeah, that's a scene that Ashley and I both were like, hey, that was really, really clever how they did that. And we talked about it a little bit at the beginning because of the controversy of it. But having a killer Santa, to me, that's actually brilliant. Because you're able to do so many different things. And when we get to the spoilers, we'll talk about some of the things they're able to do because they have a killer Santa Claus. And it's things that you would almost expect, but at the same time, you're like, are they going to go there? Is this something that they're going to do? So
just the innocence of Santa.
Exactly.
It definitely works because it's supposed to be innocent. It's just like having a killer child.
Right. And it's been duplicated many times since this movie, but I think this is where obviously it was originated. You had the huge uproar about it when it came out. Theaters were pulling it because you had Santa Claus killing people. Like I said, it's been replicated but never duplicated. Yeah. So I really like the ability to have a killer Santa in this movie and some of the things that brings along with it.
I really like the nun and everything she does for him. She really cares about him, and you can just tell when she's trying to talk to the superior nun and just trying to like get him on track with life, and some of the things that the superior nun isn't okay. So
right. And even when, she goes to the police station,
yeah,
she's trying to get him out of trouble, and she's like, I think this is what it is, but I don't want him, she doesn't want him hurt.
Yeah.
She's always had a love for Billy and almost like a motherly protection of him because she knows the backstory of what happened to him. So, spoiler free, those are some of the positives. But now, obviously, there's no such thing as a perfect movie. So we're going to get to some of the negatives about this film. So Ashley and I are not prudes by any stretch of the imagination, but something we don't like is when there's unnecessary nudity. You have a scene, with her getting her shirt ripped open, or these two kids that are supposed to be teenagers making love and Mother Superior catching them. A lot of the times it's just unnecessary. Like they do it for the shock value. And in a movie like this, you didn't need that.
No.
And again, we're all about sexuality in movies. It can be done really, really well.
But you don't need to rip someone's blouse open when you're attacking them. You can attack them brutally without degrading them. Yeah.
And also, in this situation like this, in this movie, horror's always been horny. Since the beginning of time, horror's been horny. And there's always been sexuality and sexiness that comes along with horror. This is a movie where I just felt that it was unnecessary. You didn't have to do that to increase the moral of the story or the scares in the film.
Yeah. So one of the things, the overall abuse at the St. Mary's orphanage, like he's getting spanked, they're tying him to the bed, they're making him sit on Santa's lap after all the trauma that happened, and he obviously doesn't like Santa Claus.
And you can see it on him.
Yeah, and I mean, she's pulling him from whatever room he was in to sit on Santa Claus's lap, and he attacks Santa, and it's not okay. And then he gets tied to the bed. Like the overall abuse, it made me feel uncomfortable. I don't like that when kids get abused.
See, and it does increase the story. So when we say a negative, it's not a negative to the story. It's a negative for us as a viewer because it was hard. Yeah, our feelings were hurt watching this little boy go. He already lost his parents in the way that he lost his parents, and now we got to watch him go through this type of adding trauma on top of trauma does not help. Also, you can see it right now, but this is one of the worst freeze frame fade outs. I did not edit this whatsoever. This is completely how the movie goes. So the way you just seen that is how that went. So seeing that freeze frame fade out, we were like, and it was the worst way to do a time jump.
Yeah.
While we're talking about that, you want to just talk about some of the time jumps in this film?
Yeah, so some of the time jumps are just, I feel like it's all over the place at some points. Like, they go back to when his parents were attacked and when he was at the orphanage, and then when he is a teenager, and it goes back and forth and back and forth, and it just seems like there's way too many. Like,
you could have just started with him as the big teenager and just having the flashbacks of what had happened.
Yeah, we didn't need to see what happened and then keep going back to what happened. It was too much.
Now, there's also building suspense, but there's also having moments that just drag on for way too long.
Yeah.
And there's moments in here where they're dragging for so long and it has nothing to do with the suspense of the film. You're like, okay, we get it. You can cut to the next scene now. But there's just moments in this film that just really, really drag out for just entirely way too long.
And some of the color grading, I was just like, what? Like, it's so noticeable in the unrated version. It's so noticeable, and it like messes with your eyes.
Yeah.
To be honest, I'm just like, why does it keep changing like that?
We get it because it wasn't produced the same way it was with the film, because it's the unedited, and back then they would just splice those scenes back in and not do any type. But when you're watching it,
this looks
it's bad. Like
does.
the amount of times that it does it and how clear as day it is that this was not part of the original film.
Maybe on like a VHS tape, like it wasn't that big of a deal, but now that we have
4K,
yeah, it's a big deal.
Extremely noticeable.
Yeah.
Another thing is, I don't mind a killer having like a catchphrase maybe, but when you hear Billy over and over saying "punish," punish, you're like, oh, okay, dude, we get it. You want to punish.
We want to punish.
People.
Yeah, because that's what he was told.
You don't have to say it every single time you want to hurt or kill somebody. I don't have to hear you go, punish.
I'm more into the silent type of slashers.
Right.
And then we have the cops ruining Christmas.
Hold it. Stop right there.
Daddy.
Daddy?
What the hell, man?
Now she knows.
Now she knows. Like, they done messed her whole Christmas up.
And Daddy,
I
he's
know.
like,
yeah, he was mad. Like,
thanks, guys.
He was just trying to, pretend to be Santa for his little girl.
Right.
Those
and then,
jerks.
I get they were trying to set up a sequel here, but the ending, when you have his little brother and he's just like,
Naughty.
And then it cuts on that and goes to the credits. Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like the ending of this film. And if I hear one more fucking person say punish, I swear to God.
Punish.
So, I know, punish. So, those are some of the negatives we had of the film. But now we're going to get into our spoilers. If you haven't seen it, we know it's going to be 40 years old next year. It's a little bit older than me. But if you haven't seen it, make sure you go and you check the film out. Come back and watch our spoilers. Hear us talk about some of the kills and some of the other subplots that we just feel should be spoilers. So with the slasher, we obviously got to talk about some kills. And this movie does not have a shortage of kills. Some are better than others. Some we can't show, unfortunately, because of that unnecessary nudity we talked about earlier. But you have this, the movie starts with a gas station clerk getting robbed by a mall Santa. And then the mall Santa just blowing him away, like shooting him.
Yeah.
And
for like $30 too.
yeah, it ended up being like $30.
He didn't get any. He just took someone's knife for $30.
$30, and it reminds me of that old country song. You know, for $43, my friend lost his life. Like that's what it reminds me of. Country Boy Can't Survive. That's the name of the song. But you know, and that's in this point of the film, and he's mad. He's like, oh, $30, and you're like, dude, just kill that guy.
He doesn't care that he took someone's life. He just cares that he only got $30 out of it. And then
the same Santa
kills mom and dad. You know, he looks like he's on the side of the road, broke down, and they slow down, and they're like, oh, Billy, you want to see Santa? And at this point, he's already talked to Grandpa.
Nope.
He doesn't want to. And then, Santa just, he kills dad, and he kills mom.
Shoots dad as he's trying to back away in the car.
Yep, he pulls out a gun, and mom's like, like back up, which is so scary. Also, they didn't believe in car seats back then. She's just like holding the baby while they're driving.
Right. Well, you have, like I said, you have the dad getting shot as he's trying to back up. And then the mom, he takes out of the car, rips her blouse off.
Rips it open, and
then cuts her throat.
While Billy's
watching all of it. So this is where his trauma of Santa Claus comes from.
And then he's kind of like yelling out for him, you know, because he doesn't know where he went. Yeah, it's so scary.
And then another death, you have a guy that's potentially trying to sexual assault a woman. At first she's into it, she's kissing him, you know, they're feeling each other up, and then he's trying to go too far, she's telling him to stop. Anytime a woman or a man says stop, it doesn't matter what was happening before, that's the end of it. It does not matter how far you've gone, the minute the word stop happens, that's a wrap.
Yeah.
No exceptions. And she's telling him to stop, and her top is off. Billy is watching this, and he gets flashback to his mom being assaulted. So he takes the potential sexual assaulter, and he wraps Christmas lights around him and hangs him from the Christmas lights, which again, good for you. I didn't have to hear you say punish as you were doing it, but if you're sexually assaulting someone, you get what you get.
You would think she would have been a little bit more appreciative.
Yeah, she should have been grateful.
She wasn't. She was not grateful at all, and kind of like slaps him and is like, "What are you doing?
Yeah, what the hell's wrong with you?"
Yeah, like he was attacking you. Like, okay,
this guy just saved your life.
Maybe he didn't need to hang him from Christmas lights. So she gets killed too. He kills her. He snaps on her. You know,
she was naughty.
Yeah.
And again, people react to trauma different. We're not saying that girl deserved to lose her life. It's a movie, guys, for one. But for two, in situations like that, obviously, if she was just traumatized, she doesn't know what she's seeing. You know, so you feel even more like she's even more of a victim.
Well, yeah, because not only was she just sexually assaulted, now she has this crazy killer that's right in front of her.
Right.
So she's kind of got a double whammy, and then she gets killed.
And then you have Mr. Sims' death, which is in the theatrical version is not very good, but in the color graded, unrated version, you know, he gets the hammer to the head, and you know, it's a great looking death. You don't see it, but you see the aftermath of it. You see, you know, him turn around and Billy's right there, punish, and then he gets him. So yeah, another kill. The best kill of the movie, gosh, I really wish we could show it. You want to talk about it?
Yeah, so she gets hung on deer antlers in her own home.
Topless.
Topless, because her and her boyfriend were making out, you know, getting busy, and she has to go upstairs, and he hangs her on the deer antlers. Yeah.
Sorry, Kelly Maroney.
Yeah,
we
sorry.
still love you. And then her boyfriend, you know, he finds Billy and tries to stop him, which is naughty. So he gets punished and thrown right out of a window.
Right out the window.
Yep.
Sorry, dude.
And what I love is right after this, Billy sees the little girl that they were babysitting, and she comes out and she's just like, Santa, and he's like, have you been a good girl this year? And she's like, yeah. And he's like, are you sure?
It's so creepy.
Yeah. And she's like, yeah. And then he gives her a knife, a little razor knife. Like, that's...
Like, oh, thanks, Santa.
That's her Christmas gift, a bloody razor knife.
Yeah,
So,
and now her Christmas is gonna have a bunch of trauma for the rest of her life. It's like a cycle. It's a cycle. You have to break the cycle, Billy.
Right.
Then you have
another great kill.
Another great kill. These like teenage boys are
Bullies.
going. Yeah, they're sledding and they're going down the hill, and Billy just decapitates the one kid completely, clean off.
It's again. The unrated, color graded version looks so much better when you see him come down and then his head's rolling down after him. Looked great. Absolutely love that kill too. There's a part where Santa, they get the call, you know, Santa's out on a killing spree. They think he's going back to the orphanage, so they go there and you see Santa walking up and they jump out and they start shooting Santa. They're, hey, stop. And he doesn't stop. So they shoot Santa.
Yeah.
And they kill Santa in front of all these kids. Come to find out it was the priest and he's deaf. So he couldn't hear them when they were yelling stop. So these kids just watched Santa get killed right in front of them, right outside of the orphanage where they lived.
More
so,
trauma.
Yeah, absolutely more trauma.
And then the cop, he's walking up the stairs and he gets hacked by Billy too.
Falls right back because he's searching for Billy because now they know, like, oh my gosh, this wasn't the guy. So that cop goes looking around the grounds trying to find him, and he gets the axe right in the chest and he falls back down the stairs in that shed looking thing.
Yeah.
Which is, again, you know, wrong place, wrong time, and he had to be punished, apparently.
Everybody has to be punished.
Well, now Billy, his big thing is he wants Mother Superior for all the, you know, more trauma she piled on top of him. He's going to hit her with the axe. He gets shot in the back by the police. He falls down, and he dies. So for the second time in an hour, these kids have watched Santa get shot and killed right in front of them. Two different Santas.
I don't blame them for hating Christmas.
Yeah, all these kids are like, fuck this.
Yeah.
You know, Santa's been killed twice in front of us. Every time Santa comes for something, the cops end up shooting him.
And so I do like how they named him Billy. I feel like it's an homage to Black Christmas.
Absolutely.
You know, you have to have a Christmas movie with Billy in it.
And again, this is a movie that I feel I liked a lot more as a kid.
Yeah.
Like, we'll get to our overall rankings of it. What would your ranking be?
Out of 5, I'm gonna give it a 2 out of 5. Like I said, a lot of like going back and forth took me out of it, as well as the color grading. There is some really great kills, and I think that the Santa slasher is awesome. I've said before, I love Christmas horror, and just having Santa be a bad guy and him not be this innocent guy that comes down your chimney and leaves presents for you. I think that's such an awesome thing to do. So 2 out of 5 is what I'm gonna give it.
I love this cover. I was grabbing this to show you guys. Like, I try and do it without that. But you have, so like, even the bow and arrow kill, we didn't talk about that one, but the bow and arrow kill is really, really great too, right before the nun comes in.
Yeah, it's just like 2 of my favorite, like, you have all this like a horror to it, but then you have like Christmas, and I just love that. It makes me feel all warm inside.
And what I love about this too is all the kills on here are actual kills from the movie. Like, you have with the hammer in the head, the decapitated kid. Like, there's just so many kills that are right on the cover, and I think that's absolutely great.
It's an awesome cover for
doing this review, we did watch the unrated version. So if you watch the theatrical version, we're obviously talking about parts that got extended that were not in the theatrical version. This is the unrated one that we're talking about. I'm actually going to go rock on with you. I'm going to say 2 out of 5. I think that it's a fun, mindless slasher. If I'm looking for a Christmas horror movie to watch, this probably isn't going to be the one. But if it's on, I wouldn't be upset.
Yeah.
So, like I said, it's not the best in the world, but it's a fun, mindless slasher. It obviously has its problems. I think some of the dialogue, as we talked about, was weak.
Yeah.
The time jumps, stuff like that, you know, it could have been done better. But what are your guys' thoughts? What do you guys think of Silent Night, Deadly Night? Which one of the 5 is your favorite in the franchise? Would you like to see us review some of the other Silent Night, Deadly Night films in the future? So let us know down in the comments. And if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. It helps the channel more than you know. And follow Sledgehammer Horror on social media. Our links are in the description as well. But until next time, keep talking horror.
Stay who you are.
And we'll see you guys soon.
Bye, guys.